The Burj Khalifa shimmered, a beacon of wealth against the Dubai skyline. Inside, a lavish charity gala buzzed with billionaires. Unseen, our protagonist, let's call him Alex, blended seamlessly among the tuxedoed elite. Tonight, a priceless diamond necklace, the Eye of Sheba, was destined for Alex's meticulous hands. Not for a charitable cause, but for a cause far more personal. This wasn't about greed, not in the traditional sense. This was about righting wrongs, about evening the scales tipped by an unjust system. This was about Alex, the everyday city dweller, transformed into a modern Robin Hood. Alex wasn't always a thief. He was once a cog in the corporate machine, a dedicated employee, a loving father. But then came the layoff wave, sweeping him from his comfortable life into the abyss of unemployment. His savings dwindled, his dignity eroded with each unanswered job application. The turning point? Witnessing his daughter forced to drop out of college, her dreams sacrificed at the altar of financial instability. That's when Alex decided, no more. He would fight back, not with violence, but with wit, his weapon of choice, an intricate web of cons targeting those who had more than enough. The Dubai job was Alex's most audacious yet. It involved a network of accomplices, each playing their part to perfection. A seemingly clumsy waiter, a strategically placed cough, a moment of orchestrated chaos, and the necklace was gone, replaced with a replica so convincing only a gemologist could tell the difference. Newspapers would scream, "Heist of the century." Social media would erupt in a frenzy, but amidst the uproar, a silent cheer would ripple through the underbelly of society, the unheard voices of the struggling masses, for whom Alex had become an unlikely hero. Alex's journey into the world of cons began small. Remember those online lottery scams, the ones promising improbable riches? Alex turned the tables, creating a system that identified and targeted the scammers themselves. He would pose as an easy mark, feigning naivety, leading them on a wild goose chase, bleeding them dry of their ill-gotten gains. Every dollar he siphoned felt like a victory, a blow against the faceless entities preying on the vulnerable. His methods were unorthodox, his moral compass blurred, yet strangely intact. He justified his actions with a simple philosophy: redistribution of wealth. The targets of his intricate schemes were never the struggling single mothers, the elderly living on fixed incomes, the students drowning in debt. No, his targets were the ones who wouldn't even notice the dent in their vast fortunes, the 1%ers living in their ivory towers, oblivious to the struggles of the ordinary man. Each successful con brought a surge of satisfaction, a sense of poetic justice. He used the money to help his family, to support friends who had fallen on hard times, to anonymously donate to causes close to his heart. The irony wasn't lost on him. A criminal mastermind funding scholarships, a con man keeping a local library from shutting down. He became a phantom philanthropist, a shadow figure operating outside the law, yet driven by a profound sense of social responsibility. The life Alex lived was a paradox, a constant tightrope walk between necessity and morality. He wasn't driven by avarice, but by a profound sense of injustice. The faces of his daughter, his friends, his former colleagues, their dreams deferred, their lives upended by a system rigged against them, fueled his every move. He witnessed firsthand the brutal realities of a society where the gap between the haves and have-nots was a chasm. He saw the desperation in the eyes of families struggling to put food on the table, the despair of those crushed under the weight of student loans, the quiet resignation of those left behind by a system that valued profit over people. And he realized, sometimes the law and justice are not the same. His actions, though illegal, resonated with a deep-seated yearning for fairness, a desire for a level playing field. He became a folk hero for the digital age, his exploits whispered in online forums, his legend growing with each daring heist. He was a symbol of resistance against a system perceived as inherently unfair, his actions a desperate cry for a more equitable world. Alex became a whisper in the corridors of power, a phantom haunting the lavish parties of the elite. His calling card, a single playing card, the Joker, left at the scene of his elaborate cons. It was a taunt, a reminder that no fortress of wealth was impenetrable, that behind the veneer of invincibility lay vulnerability, that even the mightiest could be brought low with a touch of cunning and a dash of audacity. His actions sparked debates in newsrooms and courtrooms. Was he a criminal or a crusader? A thief or a champion of the downtrodden? The lines blurred, the waters muddied by the complexities of his motives. He challenged the very definition of right and wrong, forcing society to confront uncomfortable truths about its own inherent inequalities. His story resonated because it tapped into a universal yearning for fairness, for a system that worked for everyone, not just the privileged few. He became a Rorschach test, his actions interpreted through the lens of individual beliefs and experiences. Some saw a dangerous criminal, undermining the very fabric of society. Others saw a necessary disruptor, exposing the hypocrisy of a system rigged against the majority. The authorities saw him as a menace, a threat to the established order. Task forces were assembled, manhunts initiated, resources poured into apprehending the elusive city hopper, as the media dubbed him. But with each successful con, his legend grew, his support base widening, his actions sparking a conversation about social justice, economic disparity, and the very definition of crime. Was he a symptom of a system in crisis, a pressure valve in a society on the verge of boiling over? His story, though fictional, mirrored real-world anxieties about income inequality, lack of opportunity, and the erosion of the middle class. He became a lightning rod for these frustrations, a symbol of defiance in an era of growing disillusionment. His existence forced a long-overdue conversation. Could one man's illegal actions be justified in the face of systemic injustice? Was it acceptable to steal from the rich, even if it meant operating outside the law, if the ultimate goal was to help the less fortunate? These questions sparked heated debates, challenging long-held beliefs about morality, legality, and the very nature of justice. The city hopper became an enigma, a riddle wrapped in a mystery inside an Armani suit. He was a living embodiment of the contradictions inherent in modern society, a symbol of hope and a source of anxiety, a criminal mastermind and a folk hero. His story served as a potent reminder that the line between right and wrong is often blurred, that justice is a concept open to interpretation, and that sometimes the greatest crimes are perpetrated not by individuals, but by the systems they inhabit. He vanished as quickly as he appeared, leaving behind a trail of baffled authorities, stolen fortunes redistributed to those in need, and a world grappling with the uncomfortable questions he raised. Was he a hero, a villain, or simply a product of his time, a reflection of a world struggling to come to terms with its own deeply ingrained inequalities? The debate raged on. In the court of public opinion, the verdict remained divided. But one thing was certain: the city hopper had successfully hacked not just into the bank accounts of the elite, but into the consciousness of a society ripe for change, leaving behind a legacy far more valuable than any stolen jewel. He forced the world to confront the uncomfortable truth. Sometimes, to right a wrong, you have to break a few rules. And sometimes, those who break the rules are the ones who end up writing the new ones.